recording artist Usher, Harry Belafonte, journalist George Will, all three in the same room at Sing Sing prison. I'm safe to say that doesn't happen every day. This was, though, a very special day. They were all there for the Hudson Link College graduation this week. Now, in the past 18 years, Hudson Link has awarded nearly 500 degrees through 7 local colleges. It has also helped people who get out of prison stay out of prison so they can lead productive lives. Our own Dominic Carter was there, and he joins us now.
Well, Richard, it was quite a remarkable program, and it's all done with no taxpayer dollars involved, all privately funded. Perseverance, redemption, a new beginning. A day these graduates thought was never possible.
First, for the Associates in Science, Michael Brown.
Michael Brown has spent 11 years in prison, convicted of manslaughter.
On top of the world right now. I feel great. Like, I'm not even in prison right now. I'm a successful person that got a degree.
But this day is also very much about the tremendous pride of the families, which has been a long time coming. Brown's mother lives on Manhattan's Lower East Side. Mrs. Roman, you've come to this prison every 2 weeks.
Yes.
For the last 11 years.
Yes.
You were not going to give up on your son?
No, absolutely not.
So how do you feel today?
I feel very proud of him. I'm glad that he accomplished something.
You can see him getting a little teary-eyed. I'm my mother's only child, so the relationship we have is like, you know, I live to make her proud. You know, I made the wrong decision. I came to prison, but to a degree I was able to right that wrong in some form or fashion, at least in her eyes. You know what I mean? And you know, mothers are priceless, man, especially mine.
Are you going to end up coming back here?
God willing, no.
The graduates are part of the program Hudson Link, which has been quite successful and grown in tremendous popularity. Sean Pica is the executive director.
It's our single largest graduating class and the largest graduating class in the New York State Department of Corrections. Very exciting, 36 men receiving AA and BA degrees from Mercy College. What we've seen over the past 17 years is students go through this program, return to their communities and do very, very important things. They become role models. But the most important piece is they don't come back to prison. And that's the goal of all of us, that we coordinate a program that runs in this prison system to make better men and women.
You've been at Mercy College for approximately 3 years, and you have been at this graduation every single year. Why is this so important to you?
Well, I mean, for one thing, this graduation is just like our regular graduation. We're granting degrees to these men who've earned those degrees, and I'm the one who presents the degrees at our regular ceremony, so it's unthinkable that I wouldn't be here to present these degrees to these men who've earned the degree. I'm also here just because what we're doing in this institution is right at the heart of what Mercy stands for. We've always had a mission of trying to provide educational opportunities to students who might not have had those opportunities otherwise.
At each Hudson Link graduation, major names attend the ceremony. This year was no different.
You see, you're searching for somebody that'll take you out and do you right.
Longtime Hudson Link supporter Harry Belafonte brought along his pal, Usher.
Education is something that has definitely been a focus for me, and I've advocated for with regards to youth. But when I heard an opportunity to be here, I always talk about disruptive innovation. And the fact that, you know, these inmates have been able to have this incredible momentous moment, I wanted to not only be here to allow the cameras to see it, but also to be supportive of him and them. Education is the key to unlocking any potential to success. And that's part of the reason why we're here celebrating these men who've, you know, unfortunately had a turn for the worse, but made it incredibly beautiful. As he says, you know, the incarceration system is unjust, you know, and I feel like in many ways, the depression and the lack thereof hope that settles in after doing time could leave you to feel as though there is no end, there's no positive restart. Well, that's not true. If you look at this, if you look at these men who are now, many of the inmates that I've spoken to, they're going to be out in another 30, 80 days. This right here, having this education underneath their belt, definitely moves them in a positive direction, but also too gives them something to stand on, to be able to have spent this time and still have something substantial.
Belafonte is at this graduation consistently and sums up his lifelong activism this way.
I'll slow down when oppression slows down. I think that as long as there's a need for my voice and his voice and the voice of all of us who are involved with the incarceration system, the overabundance of African Americans in prison, in the largest prison population in the world, I think we who have been blessed by opportunity and good fortune have to pay back and to become involved and to make sure that our young people do not go through this process.
We also sat down with one of the speakers, Pulitzer Prize-winning conservative journalist, George Will. George Will, I'm a bit shocked that you're here today.
Why are you shocked?
Well, one, considering your stature as a columnist, as a television personality, and you're here in New York at Sing Sing Prison addressing graduates, prison inmates.
I'm a journalist. I go where the news is, and this is news. It is news that there is this program to help people get ready to re-enter society. It's news that society ought to be interested in. I don't care where you stand on the question of mass incarceration and all the rest. Most people who go to prison are coming out. And a lot of them aren't coming out improved by the experience of being in prison. This is a program at Sing Sing and elsewhere in the New York correctional system that makes it more likely that people are going to come out equipped with skills and with the self-esteem to prosper on the outside.
So this is important to you?
This is important not just to me, this is important to the country. This is important to every community that is going to, whether it wants to or not, welcome back former prison inmates into their society.
What is the message of the day? I mean, you are a national and international columnist. What is the message coming out of this as far as you're concerned?
The message is that second chances work. You know, and the great novelist F. Scott Fitzgerald said, there are no second acts in American life. Wrong. Everyone has second acts. And these people are heading for a second act.
It's as simple as that?
It's not simple, and it's not easy, but it's possible.
Dr. Samuel Royle was released from prison in 2004. Dr. Royle, you earned the first Hudson Link doctorate.
Yes, I did.
And yet, early this morning, you were here setting up, proud as a peacock, setting up the arrangements for the graduates, the soon-to-be graduates. Why?
I take pride in that. I think that the men appreciate it. They need to see someone come back, especially someone like me after serving nearly 14 and 3rd years in prison, and going home and getting my doctorate. Is important for me to come back and be a role model to these men.
Andre Mohammed.
Mary Donnelly has been the academic coordinator at Sullivan Correctional Facility for 7 years.
The taxpayers aren't paying for this. And even if they were, which they're not, Hudson Link is a nonprofit organization. All of our classes are paid for by donations or grants. But even if the taxpayers did contribute to any of this, most of these men are going to go home. And do you want them to go home the same way they came in, or do you want them to go home as productive members of society, where they become taxpayers, they become better fathers, better husbands, better people, just in general? And it's evident just you can see it in their faces when they get their degrees. You know that this is a man who's finally proud of himself.
And we come back to the families. Sheryl C. Brooks watched her son Ivan graduate. Sheryl C. Brooks, you live in Brooklyn, but your son has been incarcerated here at Sing Sing for the last 14 years. How do you feel today?
Oh, I'm proud. I'm like, nah. I'm proud he's doing what he's doing here. I'm not proud that he's in here, but I'm proud of what he's achieving while he's here. And not just, like I said, doing nothing. So when he does come up for parole, he does have something that they can look, seeing that he just wasn't being a nothing person, that he was trying to improve his life and better himself.
Kivana C. Brooks, your dad graduated today. How do you feel?
I'm happy because my father's doing what he have to do.
You're happy?
Very proud that he's doing what he have to do.
You're proud of your dad today?
Yes.
I don't only just work with the gangs and the various communities in America, but I work inside the institutions as well. Here in New York, I'm in Sing Sing. In California, I'm in Mercy Prison, in LA County Jail, talking to the brothers and sisters who have to also know that there's life after death and that there's hope for everybody. And by coming in here, I think we take the sting off the fact that we are ignoring the prison population, and we shouldn't.
Well, I think he just put it very simple and very eloquent. I'm a student, and you know, this work that I've taken as a passion, it's hard work for me. You know, there's the hard work that comes with this success, being an entertainer, but then the responsibility that comes with it is just as important. And I'm here to learn.
You know, Dominic, you've been to several graduations. I know about it too. But if you want to talk polar opposites politically and in every way, Harry Belafonte, who's as liberal, as much of an activist as you ever find, George Will, button-up conservative, but they're on the same page on this issue.
Remarkable.
And we've seen, you know, Steve Forbes, and we've seen, you know, Sean Penn, the same kind of thing. Two people couldn't be more not alike, but they all agree that it's good business and it's also just good humanity, I guess, that if these guys get out, and they're going to get out, to keep them out.
No doubt about it, Richard. George Will, very nationally known conservative, made it clear that this was, as you saw in the interview, that this was important to him. He told us he flew in the night before just to be here, and I was just shocked to actually see George Will at this type of graduation of predominantly men of color, African Americans, Latinos, some whites, but predominantly African Americans and Latinos. And to his point, a point that you have made, a point that I have learned to make, a point that many people, I just wish that the entire public could see this graduation. It's not a regular graduation.
To that point, Dominic, I've learned, and you have too, when they're getting to the degrees, to take your eyes off the front of the stage, but to look at the families. And I know you introduced us to Michael Brown.
Yes.
You also met with his family, like so many.
Yes.
This is where they get to stand up straight. They're proud of their son for the first time in many cases, or their father or their loved one.
And I'm glad that's what you just did in terms of standing up straight. For the first time in their lives, dealing with their loved ones that have been incarcerated, they are able to stand up tall. So Michael Brown saying that he was so high on life at the graduation, it was almost like he was not in prison. And so for Mr. Brown's uncle to be there, his mother visited him every 2 weeks, coming from Manhattan's Lower East Side up to Sing Sing, but also his girlfriend, who's soon to be his fiance. So things are turning around for him. Hopefully things will continue to do well.
And hopefully, as this program has shown, the guys stay out of prison, which is probably the most important thing. Dominic, great job. Thank you. Coming up next, Dallas Police Chief David Brown. He got universal praise over his calm leadership. That after 5 of his officers were tragically killed in an ambush last year. Now, the chief's retired, and he has a new book about how he got there and what he had to overcome to reach that. Stay with us. We'll have this conversation straight ahead.